Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about the dust element. Now, the dust element is any time an earth and an air element comes together. Now, before we even get into anything, let's talk about dust. Now, what is dust? We got particles or things being burnt or just things from the earth in general. The smaller it is, the lighter it is that it can get blown in the wind and the air. Now, we know what the wind and the air represents. So in astrology, we know the air represents thinking and communicating, and we know earth and earth particles and things of that nature represents the thinking and the practicality. So when you and common sense. So when you bring these two together, that's a person who likes to think about practicality, who likes to think about common sense, but not also just think about it like a Taurus. Like a Taurus, think and be practical. So they may not say what they want to say unless it makes sense first within them, in their head. So they're not going to express or do anything in bad taste. This what makes them conservative and reservative. Air sign going to like to think and communicate just a lot of ideas. So a lot of times the air sign may not think what makes sense or what's practical. They may just have a lot of ideas to offer, so they mind moving so fast they may just like to communicate it and analyze these things. So but when you bring these two together, these people like to think about practical things and be analytical and things like that also. So when you got dust is more like putting things in the air. So these people like to put ideas in the air, put physical things in the air, put things that matter in the air, things that could become solid in the air. So something that really matters to you, these people like to talk about things that really matter to them. So if you run around here talking about super spirit shit, or if you running around here talking about super inspiration or a lot of that shit don't matter, and that's going to be a lot of shit that they don't like to communicate about. So these people like to communicate. Okay, how does that work for you? How does this work for you? And if you can't give them any idea or any practical results of how that actually work for you, then it's going to be something that they can't hold on to or have any idea to sling on to. So it's not a right or wrong to anything. That's how these people find their spirit. They find their spirit on how things work. If something, and they got a good sense of that, because you have a lot of people around in this world who may be too much fire or too much water. They just be clinging on to certain faiths or certain emotions, and the shit might not never work, but they run around preaching it like it's true, and then it might not never work. Then they died and gone, wasted their whole life clinging on to something that, and they may have had followers thinking it worked, but it was just based upon their ability to inspire others. But you see what I'm saying? This dust element is able to see that. They're able to sense that. You see what I'm saying? They're able to sense that through people. The five senses, and dealing with the senses, and that senses being in the air. So they can sense in the air. So once a person not only is it dealing with smell, touch, taste, see, and feeling, but can they actually feel you metaphysically? Can they actually see what you saying metaphysically? Can they actually taste what you saying? They sense whatever you saying. Is it in good taste? Do this person got good taste with what they're saying? You see what I'm saying? And then these people like to have good taste. You see what I'm saying? They like to look at things analytical and science. Like me, I'm gonna tell you off the back, my Venus, and I'm gonna hang myself on the cross right now. My Venus and my Mars is in dust, because my Venus is in 2 degrees Gemini, and my Mars is in 29 degrees 29 degrees Capricorn. So off the bat, both of those are cut. So I'm dust element in my Venus and my Mars. So what I love, appreciate, and what I value. So for my Venus, what I love, appreciate, and what I value is common sense, communication. You know what I'm saying? Thinking, analyzing, especially when it comes to relationships and how I relate to people, places, and things. I relate to them based upon what I'm doing now, communicating, analyzing, thinking, but also being practical, and also taking those things and see how they make sense in reality. You see what I'm saying? Then when I go to my Mars is my intentions, willpower, passions, motivations. That's in 29 degrees Capricorn. So right here, how how I go about my intentions and my willpower and my passions and my desires, I go about them through forms of information, communicating and analyzing, but through technologies. And I try to do it in a practical way and see how that makes sense in reality. Actually, what I'm doing right now, using a camera to talk about abstract dots and communicating them. You see what I'm saying? And the practicality of them, how they make sense in reality. So you see what I'm saying? I just made an example out of myself how this gonna play out, and how this gonna play out through your sun, moon, and rising also. Damn it, I forgot to do that on the cloud element, so I still gotta do that. Now, get into the dust element. Now, the dust element represents the thinkers, the realist, and the scientist, the science. So it's the thinker, realist, and the science. So what happens here is when you want to look at it in a way that these people love to think, you know what I'm saying? But these people like to think about realistic things. They don't like to think about things that's not realistic. And if things is not, if it's going to really act like it's not realistic, and there's no way we can tie it to any realism or anything, these people don't like to think about these things, and they're going to think that you're not thinking about the right things in your life. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, these people be right. They know how to sense if you're thinking too far into something. Now, and then they deal with science, what's logically true, what can make sense. Now, a lot of times, this could probably make them lack spirit a lot of times. But if this person is into spirit based upon what houses they got this going on in, then this person does know how to analyze to a scientific degree on how this scientifically makes sense in reality. So that's what makes these people very smart. This where you get your religious, not real religious, but your spiritual scientists, not your atheist scientists. You see what I'm saying? You get your religious and your spiritual scientists from people who are dust elements, who are a cusp, who are just not too far off in the other end. You see what I'm saying? Now, also how this play out, these people like to, they're very peculiar with words. Like, these people really pay attention to words, and they're not really emotional. They're not really dealing with the feelings and the emotions like that. They're more practical. So what you say is what actually you meant, not how you felt or how you said it. What you actually said is what you meant. So, you know, these people may come across a lot of water and fire signs that may just want to come out of nowhere and be like, motherfucker, I'll kill you. And the water and fire sign a lot of times don't actually mean this. It's just an expression that they'd have to express at a certain time if they got put to that moment. But this person, the dust people, is really going to take what you actually said into consideration. They don't care how you felt, or they're not going to take that into consideration. They're going to think, regardless of how you felt or not, you shouldn't have said that. So the dust sign is going to take practical, they're going to start to have practical ideas of how to handle you. You see what I'm saying? So don't come across these kind of people like that, because a dust sign will actually kill you just because that's how they felt, regardless of how you meant it. You see what I'm saying? So these dust elements take words, they look at words a little bit more serious than emotions and feelings. This is why they feel more comfortable around logical people who make sense, because they know when they're around over emotional people or people who act too much spirited and spontaneous. They know where that could lead to, and they don't feel like having to always put stuff in the air to calm this person down, because the dust element is the type of person to put stuff in the air for, like, so like if a person is acting too much, the dust sign to be the one to sit back like, yeah, you know, you keep doing that, you're gonna get your ass beat. Or, yeah, you know, you do that, you're gonna run out of gas. Oh yeah, you know, you did it. Like, they put stuff in the air, so it's like not directed to you, but you need to pick up that sense of, oh, it could be, and it makes sense. You need to know that whatever that person said, even if it's not pertaining to you, it makes sense. And a fire sign will take that sometimes and be like, oh no, this person's trying to stop me from doing something. The water sign will take that in like, oh no, this person's trying to emotionally make me feel a way that I'm already, you can't make me feel another way. I feel like doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? The average air sign would be like, that probably going one ear, not the other. You know what I'm saying? The average earth sign will probably take that and actually take heed to that and be like, yeah, that actually do make sense. But for the most part, as a dust element in general, these are the people who does that. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, even if a person who doesn't have a way to work and they're around a lot of other people with cars, instead of asking directly, you know what I'm saying, they may say something like, man, if only I had a way to work, I won't have to worry about getting fired. See, now someone's supposed to pick up those senses. Somebody else's spidey senses is supposed to pick up those senses and be like, and make sense out of it and be like, oh, okay, I should should ask this person, do they need a ride to work? You see what I'm saying? So it plays out in things of that nature. So that could be a fault at times, because if you're not direct, people are not going to directly answer you to the point that they may just go home and laugh. Like, I know they was trying to ask me that, but I just ain't feel like taking it, and I ain't have to give them a direct answer because they ain't directly asked. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a fault, but a lot of times it's a good thing, because you're good with words and you know how to manipulate circumstances and situations. Now, let's get into the actual signs of them. Now, we have the first one is when Taurus and Gemini come together. Now, I like to call this one Gemorus. Gemorus. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you know, you might equate this with gibberish. A lot of times these people can't talk gibberish, you know what I'm saying, when they're in their bag or they hire something like that. A lot of ideas, a lot of practical ideas may just come to their head, and they be talking about a bunch of business plans and a bunch of stuff, and you might be thinking, this person talking gibberish, but it might be good plans. But you know what I'm saying? I just threw that in there because of the frequency, but that's going to be attached to this. But other than that, you know, gibberish is Gemorus. 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 That's Gemini and Taurus put together. Now this cusp element is ruled by the second and the third house. So with the second and the third house, what happens here is this person likes to take what they value, whether that's a person, place, or thing, and they like to take what they have to offer to the world, whether that's internally or externally. Internally could be a gift, a talent, or whatever. Externally could be a person, place, or thing also, or the physical form itself, your body. A lot of people who got a lot of planets in the second house they value their body, and that's what they have to offer to the world. So a lot of these people know how to be prostitutes or porn stars or things of that nature. People with a lot of planets in the second house, but that's here or there. But right here, with this right here, this person's ruled by the second and third house. So these people take what they value and what they have to offer to the world, and they like to apply that to their surroundings, and they like to apply that to what's familiar to them, whether that's a person, place, or thing. And then vice versa, what's familiar to them and their surroundings, they like to value these things, and they like to utilize these things as what they have to offer to the world. So even if these are the people who are helping people find their talents, helping their friends get in position, or utilizing the circumstance and the platform in their surroundings for them to get to a certain degree. So these people who like to help their environment, help their neighborhood, help clean their neighborhood, or help do certain things in their neighborhood that for other people and things of that nature. Some of the local drug dealers in your neighborhood have this placement right here. You see what I'm saying? Have a lot of Gemini Taurus qualities going on right there with Gemorus right there, because they know how to value their neighborhood, but they value it to the point that they kind of act as this what they have to offer to the world. So they kind of plant seeds in the neighborhood and able to value things. So a lot of neighborhood activists, and not just drug dealers, positive aspects too. Neighborhood activists and things of that nature have this placement. Now with Gemorus also is ruled by, it rules the planets Mercury and Venus because of the Gemini and Taurus aspect. So these people think and communicate and analyze about love, about appreciation, value, how to relate to others, but more about values and pleasures and things of that nature. So these people can have on their mind all the time material things or things that pleasure them, or things that they value and things of that nature. So just things that they love in general. Don't even have to just deal with people. It could be places and things. But and vice versa, these people love, appreciate, and value communication, thinking, and analyzing on all sorts. These people love law and order. These people love social networking, that's dealing with relationships and things of that nature, and gossiping people's relationship, and getting people together, and breaking people up and things, and one ear not the other. And then you talking about one person like that, y'all love this motherfucking shit. You know what I'm saying? For real. So y'all about that, but y'all like to make practical sense about things that's actually dealing with love and appreciation. But y'all like to communicate y'all love. Y'all like to communicate y'all appreciation. Y'all don't have no problem with telling somebody you love them. Y'all don't have no problem with showing somebody their appreciation and their value, as long as another person is communicating that back to y'all. Now, as far as the modalities, you have fixed and mutable. Now with fixed and mutable, now what happens here is, now you're fixated on your own. Now these people are fixated on their own way of being able to adapt and change to other people. So these people need time. They need time to adapt. They don't like too many changeable moments, too much moving around, too much moving, too much other people moving and doing this, that, and third. These people, they need to take a little bit of time because they got their own fixated way of adapting to change or things of that nature. But and vice versa, these people know how these people love to adapt and change and be mobile and mutable to fixated ways. Like they know how to, they like to change certain things that's already there. So these people have a lot of ideas, a lot of new ideas for the status quo that's already there. So things that's already, so if you're doing something that's already there, these people, they're gonna come change up on you. They're gonna come tell you how you can add this on, how you can make this look different, and these people, this make these people very unique and original with their way of clothing and practicality and things and new ideas amongst the things that's here. Now let's go to the next one. Libro. Now Libro, that's anytime Libra and Virgo come together. Libro. So that's L-I-B-R-O. L-I-B-R-O. So what happens here is this sign is ruled by the 6th and the 7th house. So with the 6th and the 7th house, these people like to take work. These are the type of people who like to take work, health, scheduling, detailing, criticizing, routine, things that they're going to do on a day-to-day basis and things that they're actually working on. These people like to take this and they do that with their relationships, how they relate to people, places, and things, and also how they, all relationships, business, sibling, friendships, all kind of relationships. So these people like to work on their relationships. Work on how they relate to people, places, and things. They like to have this on schedule, have this on a day-to-day routine. So these people even like to be in relationships. You see what I'm saying? Also, and these people, they like to build relationships with others, and these relationships is more like business relationships. And like as the Scorpio, as the cloud element with Scorpio and Libra coming together, that's Cobra. These people like relationships as far as relating to others and relationships. This Libra element is more of a more like a business relationship or a cordial relationship. But as long as you can have one of these type of relationships, you wouldn't mind it. You wouldn't mind that going to a sexual relationship, but as long as it can stem from some type of business. Like these people, these are people who can fall in relationships after they didn't have affairs at work. Then they have fall into full-time relationships with these kind of people, other than having full-time relationships first and then going to work, like the other signs. You see what I'm saying? Also, when it comes into this element right here, these people like to take their relationships and how they relate to people and try to criticize it and look at the details of their relationships and see how their relationships work for them and things of that nature, and see what's the point of them being in this relationship and try to analyze it from a practical point of view. Now when we go into the signs is ruled by Mercury and Venus. So that's the same way as Gemorus, the previous sign right here, which is Taurus and Gemini. Now this is the other way around. So the Mercury and Venus still rules both of these planets. So what happens here is this person thinks, communicate, and analyze about love also, but more in a not as practical as Gemorus, but this is more idealist. So where Gemorus may be a realist, this may be an idealist. So where Gemorus may want to communicate and then physically show you something, this idealist may want to communicate and create like an imagination around what a relationship could be. You know what I'm saying? And eventually that can trickle down into actually practically doing something. But you know, that's just a slight difference, but they share the same qualities, just different modalities, and we're gonna get into that now. But these people love and appreciate and value communication. You need to let these people know what you're gonna do. Don't just be doing things based upon how you feel. You may feel like the relationship is going bad right now, so you just get up and do something. You may feel like you guys need time, so you just get up and leave, and then you wait 2 weeks later to tell this person that I just needed some time. No, this person value communication. You need to tell this person, or this person's gonna go out and do something. That's how these people are, especially Libras. You know what I'm saying? The Virgo and Libra coming together as a cusp, you know, as a 5-degree orb cusp. You know, these people, they value communication, they value even actions, and they value practicality, and whatever makes sense to them, that's what they're going to communicate and analyze and take action on. So if you're not leaving them no idea or no forms of communication for them to cling on to make sense out of, then they're going to make their own sense and see how something works for them. And then you may be trying to get them back and may not ever be able to again, because there's going to be so many road blockages and air blooms there that it's going to be a big fan that blow you away. And if you get through the fan, there's going to be so many road blockages there and so many guardrails there that you just can't even get back to this person if you even try. So try not to go down that route with these people. But for the most part, what separates this from Gemorus is the modalities. This modality is cardinal mutable. So right here, these people like to initiate and create new circumstances and situations for others or themselves. So these people like to create the situation, spark the conversation, create the relationship, rule the household, create the circumstance for others, and then vice versa. These people love to be able to adapt and be able to change to new things and create new things and things of that nature. They like to change to new circumstances. They like to adapt to new circumstances and things of that. So these people may like to jump into a lot of new relationships and things of that nature. And they may know how to adapt and dive in real fast, and it could play out like that. And then last but not least, you have when Aquarius and Capricorn come together. I call this Aquaricorn. Aquaricorn. Sorry if you don't like the names, but you probably wouldn't have liked Aquarius if you never knew it. Or Capricorn. But right here, this is Aquaricorn. 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 Now right here, this is ruled by the 10th and the 11th house. So these people like to take what they're known for, how they're seen, and also their status, and they like to present it to the public in some type of way, or present that, or compare it metaphorically to the unknown, which could be science, mysticism, or occult, or astrology, or apply it to the unfamiliar, whether it's an unfamiliar person, place, or thing, like your distant cousins and things of that nature, or going to the mall, or conducting yourself in a public arena. These people love to take how they conduct themselves in a public arena and make it something that they can make a career out of, or make it their status, or make it something they're known for. They even like to take the unknown and try to be known for it, and try to be seen for it. So these are your scientists, or these are your abstract thinkers, or your broad thinkers, and these are the people who try to broadcast it, who try to let you know that this is what they do, and things of that nature. These are your big scientific people who are famous for it, and things of that nature, and put it on the front line, and put it on Front Street, and things of that nature. Or this is a person who wants to be well known for their uniqueness, wants to be well known for their individuality, and that's what they're known for, and that's part of their status. Now when it comes into the planets that rule this sign is Saturn and Uranus. So right here, this person loves to gain stability in their life based upon their uniqueness and their originality, based upon their social skills, based upon how many people they know, based upon how they can fluidly get through this realm of reality, seeing how everybody's the same, looking at everybody the same, treating everybody as family. Also, and this get them in a lot of places. Also, these people like to rebel and oppose and change against how other people make things work, how other people's boundaries and restrictions and limits. So these people try to change the boundaries and restrictions and limits around themselves. Also, and they gain structure in their lives by rebelling against something that they don't want to do. If they force themselves to do something uniquely different and get themselves in new circumstances based upon not wanting to do what everybody else does. So this is what makes these people very unique, and they like to bring their uniqueness into reality, make it real, make a person actually be able to see it, feel it, and see it in a real way. Now this modality is cardinal fixed. So this person likes to initiate and create new ways of how to stabilize themselves, how to get themselves in a grounded situation. You know what I'm saying? So they got all kind of new ways of how to fix themselves into some type of organization or some type of system or some type of founding or some type of something that they can ground themselves on and fall back on. And then vice versa. These people love to be fixed. They're fixated on their own way of creating and initiating new ways of doing things. So they have their own way of how they initiate and create new ways of how to do things. So can't nobody give them ideas or they got their own unique way, and this is what makes them stubborn, but a lot of times this is what makes them very intriguing, because people like this person know how to stick to their guns, and whatever they just did was some whole new shit. You see what I'm saying? So that's these people. Now, when you want to get to the dust element of the sun, now when it comes to the sun,